Hello students and faculty, welcome back to GATEtutor. So in previous video we saw how to attempt a local coding test. Now in this video we will move towards global coding test, and I'll show you in this video how to attempt a global coding test via link or only link. So let's move towards test setting, global coding. So here I haven't created any test right now, so I'll just fast forward this to and show you how a global coding test is created. Here we have selected all the necessary details. I'll select 2 to 3 questions. So this one, this one and this one. So here we got 3 questions. I'll just write here 90 marks for this test. Here I'll give 60 minutes timing, and the test name will be global coding test GT. Okay, here I have set it, it's by default it gets 1 hour of timing, so you can just modify that. Here I have clearly checked this, all of these things. I have explained this in a introductory video of local coding test. You can just check that out to understand how these things works. So here I'll just create this test. The global test is created. If you can't find it here, you can just select the coding test filter. I can see the coding test is available, global coding test GT. I'll just copy the link of the coding test, and this link can be shared with anyone because it's a global test. The user has to just log in to attempt this test. So here let me just paste. Yeah, so because we have logged in user here, that's why I can just directly go to this tab and I can attempt this test. Okay, but if user haven't logged in or user is not logged into GATEtutor by default, they will get an option to log in or register themselves. They have to complete that form, and they will be able to attempt this test. So let me just refresh this test. Okay, so now I can just click on start test. Instructions, you should read these instructions, these are important. If you won't, you will get disqualified because you don't know what are the rules of the test. So the test is started in the full screen mode. This is a global test. It gets started directly through link. There is no need to go to your test center and attempt or find that test again. So these are the basic information, like what's the question, what is the test. This is basic information about the question, time duration of the test, how many questions are there, what's the marks, number of question on which you are, and marks per question. This is the problem statement, input, output. These are the examples, these are the constraint, time and space. Here I have the question. To do, you have to edit only this, you don't touch the main function. We can just, if we run this test, run this question, that question will get response like this, that how many test cases are passed and how many are failed. If your function, the function you have wrote, it is correct, then you can see that you got full marks for the question. Okay, here at the top we have how much time left, number of questions 1 2 3, and the marks assigned to that particular question. Here you can see there is difficulty. This option is to switch the language. I can just switch the language to C, and C, I am running the code got ran and I got 0 again. Let's move toward the next question. This is the problem statement, input, output, and time constraint or time and space constraint. This is the question. We can switch the language anytime if we want. There is no issue with that. I'll go back to Python and run the code again. Here one test case is passed because by default it returns 0. Now we'll move towards the next question. Here we can see we have we have to only edit this to do function, first function. Don't touch the main function because that will just lower your chances of getting full marks, because you don't know how our system accepts the input and how we give the output. So don't try to edit that. Now I have attempted all of the question. I can just move to the submit, but before that let me show you what happens if all the three warnings are passed and when user get disqualified, what actually happens in global test. Because in global test that it doesn't mean that you know everyone who is attempting the test, and you can't just allow them to attempt the test again. So let me just try to get disqualified. This is the first warning. Once more, this was the second warning, and wait, if I go back to our dashboard, there I got a third warning and I'm disqualified right now. But let me just go here and see if I can find who is attempting. Okay, so this user got disqualified. He just got disqualified, right? We'll move towards review and we can see what they did during this. These many warnings they got. These were the three warnings by which user got disqualified, but these two are those which are captured after the disqualification. Here if I move here, I can see user got disqualified. Here, this option you can see, contact your faculty to request a resume. If user who had attempted the test, they called the faculty who has created the test, then they can just directly give the user option to attempt the test again. Here there is a global coding test which user has attempted. Okay. So we have seen how global test is attempted. If user resumes this test, in the global test user will get to see their results in their test center, because if once user has attempted the test will appear in their test center and timeline. If you have any doubts about this, you can just comment on the post or comment on the video, or you can just contact our support for details. Thank you.